Hello, welcome to a Knitting Pipeline Extra. I believe it's number 25. I think I got mixed up a little before this, but I think it is 25. Anyway, it is a Knitting Pipeline Extra. I am Paula. I'm the host of the Knitting Pipeline audio podcast. And today, by popular demand, my sister is joining me. And she does all kinds of crafts. She's not a knitter, but we have other things to show. So we're going to talk today about knitting, wool applique, sewing, some sewing, because we have some, sewing and quilting. I think that covers that stuff. And you can find me on Ravelry as PrairiePiper, and I'm on Instagram and YouTube as Knitting Pipeline. Gayle is Gayle. You can get to her.
I'm Paula's sister.
You can ask questions. She reads all the comments on YouTube, and so feel free to ask questions there or say things to Gayle there. But she's not on too much else, right?
Right.
So before we get going here, let's see. Did I cover all the bases on that Ravelry and everything? But I do want to mention the elephant in the room, and that is that I'm wearing a headscarf. Those of you who don't listen to the audio podcast or follow me on Instagram, you might not know that I was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer on January 7th. So I'm going through treatments, and that's one reason that my best pal and sister is here, because she's been with me for all the treatments, and then when I have surgery coming up later on, she's going to come up for that as well. So I know how lucky I am. Yes, and we have fun. This is a fun day because I'm in my 3rd week. I have chemotherapy on Tuesday, so this is the best week I have in the rotation. So she came a few days early so we could have some fun together before it's not that bad. I don't get that sick, but it's fun to have her around. She helps a lot. So without further ado on that, I did want to say one thing. Thank you to all of you who already have sent me well wishes and cards and all your notes in the Ravelry group and below videos or however you choose to communicate. I really, really appreciate every single thing, and I feel that it has contributed to my overall well-being. I have a positive outlook, and I just see myself coming out at the end of this being in great shape and continuing as we have gone before. So knitting, the first thing I want to talk about is sort of a public service announcement. 2 years ago, I made gloves because I saw Angie's when we were on the Iceland trip. And these are the Lucy Gloves by Dawn Catanzaro. The yarn is Quince Co Chickadee in the Leap colorway. I've hung onto these. I've been really careful that I don't lose one of them. They have a trellis pattern on the back. But what I wanted to tell you is one day I wanted to go for a walk. I can't walk a lot, but I can do a little bit. And it was cold. I decided to use chemical hand warmers. Usually I use these little rice bags that one of the listeners sent me, and I put it in the microwave. I already had my boots on. I didn't want to tromp through the house and get gravel and stuff. So when I got home, these were black on the palm and the fingers. And at first I couldn't even figure out why they had been that way. But it was because of those chemical hand warmers. And so I did wash it, and I'd say 75% of it, maybe 80, you can see some there. Most of it came out, but I definitely would not do that again. So I know now. And I'm hoping I get another year out of these gloves, but they were very fun to knit. So when they wear out, I can either re-knit fingers or just make another pair as backup. And then also in knitting, I have 2 projects in progress. This is a bag by Prairie Bag Works, Sue. One of my favorite bags. It's a great size, and a lot of Sue's bags, I'd say most of them, have a tape measure on the inside so that you can, a pocket, so that you can measure easily. This is the sweater called Cobblestone by Jared Flood, and it's for my husband. It looks all scrunched up here on the needles, but it measures out that it will easily fit him. And then it's a pullover knit from the bottom up, and it has a panel garter stitch up the sides. And then the yoke is garter stitch as well. So I am ready to knit the sleeves. I know this looks really short, but it's 17 inches, so it'll be big enough. I'm using Barrett Wool Co., which is Susan B. Anderson's yarn, and this is in a natural, I forgot the name of the color. It's not oatmeal, but I think it's one of the lighter colors they have. And I just love, love, love knitting with it. It really is a joy to knit with it. And I knew I would need some kind of mindless knitting so that I could do that when, I mean, there is a real thing called chemo brain, and I thought, yeah, that won't happen to me. Guess what? It got me really bad. So there were days I could hardly get a sweatshirt on by myself, but it was just for a couple of days, and I'm hoping it'll just be for a couple of days in the cycle. So this is the Northeasterly by Melissa. Sorry, Melissa, I have to look you up. She has a hyphenated last name by some other crazy, like some other crazy folk do, like me. Melissa and Alexander-Loomis, Northeasterly. I am using Quince Co Fingering weight yarn. This is a blanket that's done in strips. I said I would never do a blanket again because I quilt now, but I just love the idea of this, and I have a lot of Quince Co Finch. Usually, she designed it for people who have sock leftovers, fingering weight, but I just thought, I have so much, and some of them are just little balls, but a little ball can make a segment like that. So in the pattern, you actually knit the panels onto each other, but I wanted to keep it a small project that I could take anywhere. So this is one panel done. And I think I need about 10. Yeah, you could hold it. And I kind of tentatively measure because I want it 65 inches and I'm 5'2", so I just kind of hold it up and see if I'm getting in the general vicinity. But as you can see, it has a chevron pattern to it, and I don't really like chevron. Normally I don't like it. I avoid chevron. I don't know why. I just don't care for it. But in this case, I really liked it, and I enjoyed knitting on this. I know it's a very long-term project. I'll finish that sweater, I'm sure, before I'll finish this Northeasterly. But that's okay, because it's good to have a project that you can just pick up and take with you and knit on. And this is small enough to do that. And I am knitting it on straight needles. I thought that would be kind of fun. I had some size, I think I'm using a size 3 on this, or 2. But the size 3 needles that I had were too long, so my husband cut off the end with the knob and then re-glued a knob on there for me so I can use them, because I didn't want the long ones. So they're just nice short little wooden needles. And then I wanted to show you, Gayle was here, I don't know, I think it was the first time you came. Well, back up a little bit. I want to talk about this because this is going to be my next project. I knitted, this is the Morgan doll by Susan B. Anderson with Quince & Company. You can buy a kit on the Quince site for the dolls. I made this when she did the workshop at my main knitting retreat in Kennebunk. And I just love this little doll. Well, I have 2 granddaughters now, so I need another doll. This is going to be cast on today.
They're coming next week.
They're coming in 10 days or so.
Yeah.
So I want to have 2 dolls for the girls to play with when they're here. So therefore, I have already gathered up the yarn. I don't have time to order kit anyway, but I have a lot of Quince & Company Chickadee. She's so cute. She has a little shawl. She has a dress on and little striped leggings and a cardigan. So I can hardly wait to get started on that. But that does involve some brain power, which I'm fine with right now. It's just certain times during the cycle that's hard. And then when Gayle was here the first time, we went through a lot of things that I knitted for my children when they were younger. This was a baby blanket for my firstborn. We didn't know.
You made one for Andy, too.
Yeah, I made one for Andy. This was my standard baby blanket at one time. Put your end down a little bit. There we go. At one time, it was my standard baby blanket because it's an Elizabeth Zimmerman thing. You just start in the middle and work your way out at 4 points every other round. And then someone told me that if you put a light border on a blanket, that this is what pioneers used to do so that babies can perceive that as a drop off so they won't go off the blanket. And no, it doesn't work, but it does frame the blanket nicely. But my boys, it certainly did not stop them from going. And this is done in this is probably, well, he's in his early 40s, so it's 40 some years old. But I got off track here. I sewed a label on it, so it says to hand wash, and that it's 100% wool. And I'm using it. When they come, they're going to be coming in a couple weeks when I have surgery. When they come, I'm going to offer it to them to take if they want to use it. But it's a great size for a lap blanket or if you just need a little extra warmth on your feet. So instead of stashing it away in a cedar chest or chest of any kind, I'm just going to use it until they tell me otherwise. So, Gayle, let me look here and see if I did everything on knitting. Honestly, I haven't done that much knitting because when I've been sort of queasy at times, knitting just doesn't appeal to me. But I got going about a week ago and really made rapid progress on the Cobblestone and got all the way up to where I am now. So let's move on to, let's talk about this, and because I know we have a lot of other stuff to talk about.
You have your phone?
No, my phone's recording us.
Let me get mine so you can show them how it works.
So I don't even know where I heard about these. I think I was just on YouTube and it said recommended for you. I have a necklace on today too, by the way, while Gayle's in the other room. I'm going to get it. And make sure you're in airplane mode or off just in case. Okay. And this is a necklace that has words of encouragement on it. Thank you so much, Sue. And then it has the symbol for ovarian cancer, a little charm on it. So I wanted to wear that today, but I'm going to tuck it in so it doesn't. So this is what a phone pillow does. And you could also use it for a photo frame to hold up a photo, or sometimes I put my eyeglasses in there. I want to make more of these. I made about 8 to 10 before Christmas and gave them out as Christmas gifts. And this would be an easy beginner project, more than what the pillowcases are that we're going to show you coming up. It really is simple, and I used weighted pellets, poly pellets, but you can use rice to weight it down a little bit, and then you need a little polyester fiber fill. I'm going to give you, in the show notes, there is probably the most, I looked at several videos. That's typically what I do, is look at several videos or written instructions, and then I glean from each one and then do it. This one, I'd say the main one I used is from Sew Very Easy, SEWVERY, easy, all one word, on YouTube. If you type in pillow cozy or pillow hold or phone cozy or phone holder, a bunch of them will come up. But I'd never seen them before, and so it just sits like that, and it's really useful, I think. So now, Gayle, should we go to pillows?
Sure.
We totally forgot our field trip, though, to the other room.
Oh, well, we probably won't have time for that, will we?
We'll make time for that. We have to show you some things. But first, let's go through your stuff.
The pillows?
The
quilts?
Yeah, the quilts, yeah. These are quilts you really haven't seen finished from Gayle. Well, last time she was here was in August, so that's a lot of quilting time between August. So, yeah, tell them, well, after you get it. Yeah. You want me to hold it for you?
No, that's all right. You could show them this, though.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's made from a cake mix, if you've ever heard of them. That one was a freebie from Jenny Doan, Missouri Star, but that's number 8, and I did the cake mix number 5. and you actually sew on paper. There's little arrows of where you sew, and then you tear the back off, and then that makes the pattern, and then it shows you the different ways you could put your blocks in a lot of different types. So this one is going to be my mom's 90th birthday present. She already knows that, so she'll watch this.
Miss Rosie's Quilt Company from Moda.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the blocks are all the same, correct?
Yes, and you use one solid layer cake and then one print layer cake is what it is. So if you ever wondered what a layer cake cake mix recipe is, that's that. And then the last time we were here, we talked about my I Spy quilts, and I said the back has minky fabric, and I'm not sure if everybody knows what that is. So this is the minky fabric. Should we hold it up close?
Yeah, let's get it
it's
closer.
really soft and cozy. So this is going
It's
to
sort of like a chenille, is what,
Yeah.
kind of like a really plush chenille. And we kind of wondered what the stitching pattern would do to it, because it was just solid, but it does show up as a stitching pattern on there. And who wouldn't love that?
And I was also nervous because it's polyester and the front is all cotton, and I was worried when I washed it if the cotton would shrink and the other wouldn't, and it came out fine, so I didn't have to worry about it. This one, you probably recall, is Paula made one of these for her son Pete. And then I actually had the fabric, but I hadn't decided which pattern to use. And so then I liked hers so much, this is pretty much the same as hers. And now we decided we wanted an easy project that wouldn't take a lot of brain power. And since we both made this, we're going to make one for my brother in between her.
He's my brother too.
Yeah, our brother. Yeah, my brother.
Our brother. He's yeah.
So,
And he appreciates handmade things a lot. And I've been thinking about making one. Oh, we got another one. We didn't show
this
this
is our
last one.
yeah, we didn't show this one
No.
last time.
Is this Yellow Brick Road again?
No.
No.
I forget what pattern this is, but it's not. But it's the fabric is Forever Green by Holly Taylor, which is not. She's still designing, but that's not available anymore. But that's just kind of a fall, winterish kind of quilt.
But you wouldn't have any trouble finding something similar.
No,
that
no,
whole
just the basic
thing is kind of.
Yeah.
So, did you say the fabric from the yellow?
Oh no, the fabric from the yellow one is.
They can't see our heads, but
It's called Lemon Twist, and I got it from Missouri Star Quilt Company with just a basic black layer cake also, which is just 10-inch squares, which you can cut or you can buy, which is a lot easier. I guess this would be considered quilting because you quilted the front.
yeah.
This was a project we talked about last time, but we didn't have it to show you, and we did this together. It's I made the little hexagon thing, and Paula did all the free motion quilting on it. And then it just has wool pages in it that holds all your different needles.
Sewing needles, some safety pins.
Just-
We grouped ours like big ones here, big eyes. The eye of the needle's big, and then
the back.
yeah. But then you have them all together,
Yeah.
in one place.
So
That's
that's the last of my quilting.
Okay. Well, I have 2 quilts off for finishing right now. One is my Civil War one that I think I showed you the top of it. Oh, I don't think I did. Maybe I did show you the top of it last time, but I decided to do custom quilting on that. So she has a big backlog. I'm going to give her a little nudge though, because she told me probably January and it's March now. So I think I need to just do the little poke. But anyway, that I'm waiting to get back. And then I finished my maker's quilt completely before you came last time. So that was a good 3 weeks ago. But I couldn't decide whether I was going to finish it myself or send it off to Nancy in Minneapolis. She's Grace and Peace Quilting. And the size of it was pretty big. It was, I think it's around 78 by 78. This is the quilt that I made blocks that represent all of my quilting projects that I've done since 2015. There are only 2 in 2015, and all the rest of them, 2 in 2010, and then all the rest of them from 2015 on. And there were 36 blocks. I think it was 6 across and 6 down. So that'll be fun when it comes back from Nancy, and she's going to, I use the Quilt As You Go on that one. So the quilting is actually done, but it still needs the backing and then stitch in the ditch on the joining strips. Then, let's see.
Pillowcases?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of pillows. I made 2 pillowcases, as I showed you, to take to the girls when we went to the lake house. And then Gayle got me onto this. Now, when you read the tutorials on this, a lot of them will say, this is a great beginner project. And in a way it is. Yeah, we'll bring that one over too. We don't need to bring the other big one. Yeah.
This is the...
Here's a standard size pillow that I made. I made 2 of these yesterday morning, basically before she came. But it was in my head on how to make it. Not that I didn't finish it until last night, but there wasn't much to do, really.
No.
So this is the toddler size, and I made these, I made these for my granddaughters. They're coming in, like 10 days.
Yeah. And these are the burrito style. We talked about these the last time.
Yes, we did.
So I made my three of my grandkids live in Poland, and so we actually had Christmas in July. So one night when they stayed with us, they each had their own Christmas pillowcase. This is penguins and snowmen. And then, what's this, polar bears and penguins.
Mm-hmm.
So those were their 2 when we celebrated Christmas. And then the next night we celebrated their birthdays. So this is my granddaughter's birthday pillow. And then this was my grandson's. And my other little granddaughter's too young to have a pillow.
We were talking about if you didn't want to make a separate birthday pillowcase for every grandchild, maybe you have a lot of grandchildren, you only want to make, you could make one per family with a generic like cupcake theme or happy birthday theme. And you know how some people they have this plates that they use on a birthday that says you're special or whatever. It would be that kind of thing, that whoever was their birthday. You know what's making me cough? They have to move those plants. Let's show them first, because it is a very cool arrangement. Somebody sent me a container of bulbs, and they've been just gorgeous, but these hyacinth are just so strong in fragrance that they can kind of get to you. They're beautiful, but they're like the lady that puts on too much perfume, actually. But that was what was making me cough, I believe. So now I have a couple of tips if you go to make the pillowcases. Now, we're not saying these are hard to make, but I wouldn't do it as your first project. Would you?
No.
And I compared it on the audio podcast to the baby's surprise jacket in knitting, which most knitters are somewhat familiar with, that you have to trust at one point that what you're going to do is going to work, because it seems counterintuitive.
And it's all rolled up.
It's all rolled up. You really can't see what's going on. And then, like on the big one that I made, that Gayle showed, the gold one. And by the way, all mine were stash. I was so glad that I was able to use stash on all of these. But when you roll up the burrito, and if you watch a video, you'll know what we're talking about, and you start pulling it out, sometimes it feels like, especially on the big one, like it's just not moving.
Yeah. And
you just have to trust and keep pulling and pulling. But the one tip, or actually I had 2 tips. Let's see. Oh. I suppose I could have written them down, but I know one of them was that when I was sewing a French seam, you don't have to do the French seam, but some of the videos show you how to do it. I used these binder clips. I found, actually, even when you do the flange here, when you do the burrito, instead of pinning with conventional straight pins, I had the idea to use binder clips. And we'll put them in really gently so we don't hurt anyone's ear. But no, you can't put them in gently. They want to make noise. So that would be my number 1 tip. My number 2 tip, yeah, they just work instead of a pin. My number 2 tip is on this one, I really had trouble because this chambray is kind of thick fabric. I mean, it is quilting cotton, but it's kind of thick. And I had trouble getting over it. And suddenly, with the needle I had in, and then I thought, why not use my walking foot? So when I did the seam along this side and the French seam, I used my walking foot. Your machine may have come with a walking foot, or if not, you can order a universal walking foot. And just remember, if you're doing a thickness of something where you have several layers, the walking foot, the whole point of it is that it keeps all those layers together instead of just having your feed dogs on the bottom. So that worked really well for me when I was doing these, because it was getting over this hump that was so thick. It must have had, I think you might have had 6 to 8 layers, or at least.
At least 6.
At least 6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
6.
So anyway, those are pillowcases, and I'm going to tell you the sites that I used the most. If you go on and you look up pillowcases, there will be many, many ways, and there's also more than one way to do it, and then everybody's explanations are a little different. But the top 2 video ones I have are, and this was one of the ones you used as well, How to Make a Pillowcase Burrito Sausage Roll Up Method by the Crafty Gemini. She has a lot of videos. Hers was really good, and I probably could have done the whole thing just by watching hers. And it is a toddler one that I watched. I think she has a normal size standard pillowcase one as well, but I did the toddler. Yeah. And then the other one is Toddler Pillowcase Tutorial by Lindsay Sews. It's Lindsay, Sews, Sews. And what I liked about hers is that she also has information on making a pillow of any size, custom, king size. So if you don't want to make a toddler or a regular size, although we do recommend starting with a toddler pillow, because everybody knows a toddler. And it would make a great birthday gift, or just a little something to give to someone as a little pick-me-up if they're in the hospital or just a little sick. Doing it on a smaller scale is easier than doing a standard size your first time. And then the third site was not a video, and that is by seasonedhomemaker.com. It's how to make a pillowcase with French seams using burrito method. So that is all written, and I actually sometimes prefer that, because with a video, if you need to make sure, you've got to find the spot in the video, whereas if it's written, it's just sometimes easier to do it that way. And oh, I'm going to say just a little something about my headscarf here. I don't have my hair now, and it has not been a big deal for me. I didn't know quite how it would be, but I don't have a wig, and I don't know if I'm even going to bother to get one, because Gayle bought me a bunch of really pretty caps that on Amazon that just they're nice and easy to put on. But I also bought some scarves. I bought just about all the scarves J. Jill had available. And I really found that I kind of have a knack for tying it, but I really only have one method. It just depends on whether I start here or behind here. And this is one of my favorite ones. But what I like about the scarf as opposed to a hat, and some of the hats have a little shape to them. They're kind of a slouchy one. Those are my favorites. But the scarf adds a little volume to your head, and so it kind of makes you a little more proportional, or proportionate. I'm not sure what the right term is. And I can tie one really quickly, although you do have to worry just a tad about wardrobe malfunction, because things can fall out. Like this is kind of coming out over here, but I can come and tuck it under. But you can also tie the scarf over one of the close-fitting caps, and I've done that as well. So then that adds even a little bit more. If I don't like the color of the scarf as much around my face, then I can leave a little bit of whatever I think is a little better. So I don't know. I've thought about, there's so many videos, but they show, a lot of them show the bun thing, and I'm not crazy about the buns, front or back or side. Okay, so that brings us to...
You want me, what, before the pillowcases?
That's what I was going to tell you.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
this is next. Okay. Tips and tools of the trade.
Right. Well, when she made last night, the French seam of the pillow, French seams can be kind of confusing. And I didn't do them on my toddler pillows, but when I went to my king size and stuff, I took the plunge and did the French seams. But anyway, we had to rip some out. And so just one, well, there's
just one long seam.
Yeah. But this little seam ripper, it's like, this doesn't say surgical tool, but on the original one I bought, it is. So it's extremely sharp. So you have to be extremely careful when you use it. But it puts those other little ones to shame because it just, you can have the tiniest stitches and it just gets it right out.
That's important. It has a special curve that protects the fabric from being cut when you run it along.
Yeah, it works great. I've seen it in quite a few quilt shops, but then I've also been in quilt shops where they did not have it. So if they, in your local quilt shops, if they don't have it, the name is Kathy with a K, Ruddy or Rudy, RUDDY.com. I have ordered some from her because I just have, and then I've also bought them in quilt shops. I like to have them everywhere. I guess I rip a lot.
She won't let me touch one right now.
I don't want her to get cut.
She doesn't want me to get cut. She's very
She has a
protective.
low immune system, so.
She's very protective, and I have some blood thinner for the stuff they give me, and she doesn't want me to get cut. But show how you store it too. We did show that in the video when we did your studio tour.
This is a little pincushion from Missouri Star, and it's just nice and handy to stick it right in the center where normally the scissors go. But you have to be careful. You wouldn't want it just on your table where it could slide off and if you're barefoot or something. And then this actually has a little clear sleeve in it, so if I go to a class or something, I take it in this.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Let's pull up your, if you can find your, what was I going to say? Oh, the grunge fabric. Let's talk just a little bit about grunge.
Oh, I don't have that.
Well,
it's handy if I can get it.
Oh, okay. Well, you go get it. At your local quilt shop, or if you don't have one, you could go online. Moda makes a line of fabric that's called grunge. They're different. I think they're different grunges within the grunge. But it's hard to describe it. It almost looks like paint was on it and someone tried to take it off. So it has a little bit of a three-dimensional look to it. And it really adds interest, we think, to the quilts. That I used it on my Double the Fun. And then I could have brought up the quilt that Nancy sent.
Is this good? But you want to just show this?
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe you can get up to the, maybe go up to the...
Here, I can probably show it like this.
I don't know if they can tell the difference, but it has, I don't know if it's going to show up. But it sure adds interest instead of just having a solid. Does that work?
Yeah, they can see. It's almost little grays and tans and...
So from a distance, it reads as a solid, but when you get up to it, you can see these little striations. And then someone gave me a quilt, Nancy gave me a quilt, beautiful one that has polka dot grunge on it, and it just adds so much. So you might consider that for a future quilt for yourself. Okay, let's see what we have here. Turn my page. I think we got everything. Oh, yeah, we have that, and we have some questions too. Why don't you?
I think there's only 3 little things, but
why don't you go ahead and show
did
that?
we talk about that last time?
Wool applique?
Yeah,
we did, but I don't think it was in August. I don't think you have.
I don't have this one finished, but these are just little circles, and then
I think they call them candle mats.
Yeah,
But you could put a lamp on it, or.
And then here's a little one with flowers on it. And then this is a real easy, basic one. And usually you can do like a little embroidery stitches around them and then just use fabric for the back of them.
Now, were these kits?
No.
Okay.
No.
That one was.
Yeah, this was a kit, this little mug rug.
I think I said this last time or one of the times that I think kits are a great deal and I really enjoy using kits. But if you're able to buy one of these in a shop, ask someone in the shop if you can look at the directions, because some of them, I can't remember which one. It wasn't that.
No,
it wasn't that
this
one. The one that I did, anyway, it doesn't matter. If I had not already done several projects, I would have been lost. The directions were very skimpy. So I would ask, if you're serious about buying it, is it all right if I take it out and look and see if this is at my level or gives me enough instructions? Because some of them assume a lot. I mean, that's the same with any craft, I think. So, I forgot to mention that the pillows, the toddler pillows I got, for the first two I bought at Joann Fabrics, and I had, I used a coupon or something. But this is Dreamtown Pillow, and they actually came with their own pillowcase, just a white pillowcase, which is nice because you have a spare if you don't want to use the fancy one. And then the Joann Fabric ones were about the same price, did not have that. So Dream Pillow and Pillowcase, which you can get on Amazon.com. I have here with me the fastest Amazon trigger finger in the Midwest. Maybe the country, I'm not sure. But let's talk about these two, because these are so cute. My brother, after I was diagnosed, my brother sent me a set of 6 little owls, and they're little pots for small succulents. And our mother is kind of a succulent expert. She takes care of other people's succulents during the winter, and she talks to her succulents so they know her voice and all that. But she does have a knack for it. So what she did here is she just got artificial ones, because I can't have too many plants to take care of right now. I can barely take care of me. So, and especially when you're not here. But they are just so cute, and you wouldn't know. You almost have to touch them, to see whether they're real or not. And so, they're a lot of fun. So let's go to a couple of questions that we had last time, Gayle. This is from Bougie Knits, and she said, I'm a brand new sewer. Can you show me what you mean by using the painter's tape on your sewing machine, please? I did, after she asked that question, I did go to the show blog and I inserted a couple of photos, and I'll try to get some in here so that they'll show up while we're talking about it. But basically, there's that plate that you have to take up to get to your bobbin if you're going to clean out your bobbin case and whatever. And there's usually maybe only like a 1/16 of an inch lip there where that plate is above. And what happens is, if you have you're running your sewing through that, and you're going over a seam and you want it to be staying in the forward position, it will sometimes flip it the other way, that lip. So what you do is take the painter's tape and just tear off a portion, put it over that plate where it meets your machine, and don't push it down in that crack. Just keep it kind of finely, just so it's a slope instead of a step. So we'll take some pictures and photos and insert them here, but that was a game changer for you when I told you that, because it's so frustrating when you have all your seams going the right way. You've steamed it, you pressed it, you starched it, and yet you'll still have some that will flip. Now, I will say once in a while one still gets through now and then, but
not
for the most
often.
part, not. So I hope that helps all of you as a tip. The other, another one, I think there's only 2 questions. Maybe. I do try to answer all the questions when you ask them, if I can answer it in a fairly quick way. Otherwise, not. But this was from Jane Clem, and she said, hi, Paula. I bought the kit for the felt animals. I agree about wanting to upgrade the felt. Do you have a source for the wool felt? Thanks, Jane. That's tricky, because I have a shop here. Actually, I have a shop right in my town that's a consignment shop, and one person has a bunch of wool in there, just like fat quarters of wool, fat eighths, whatever. And so I can go right up there if I need something. The Quilt Corner in Morton carries a really good selection of wool. And I'm sure if you called them and said, I need a neutral, I need a cream color, I need a red, they would package it up for you and send it to you. Also, Camp Wool is in Kennebunk, Maine, and they have a really nice website, so you could go there. But I would call them and say, this is what I'm looking for, because there's so many choices. Give them an idea. Or you can go on Etsy. The problem on Etsy is that you don't know the quality of the wool felt. You don't know what you're getting.
Right.
But Amazon, I'm sure, has some too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the fastest trigger finger here would know on that. But it is a little bit of trial and error to find what works for you and what type of felt you like. But you used to dye your own. And
yeah, I still, a lot of times I will buy from Goodwill. Oh my gosh, you're due to take a pill.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I put it in airplane mode, but she still has to take her pill.
She keeps track of that, and I just go through, let everybody take care of me.
My job.
She has to earn her keep. You more than earn your keep.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about wool felt.
Oh yeah, I'll go to Goodwill and get wool. I only buy it if it says 100% wool, and then I'll wash them in hot water, which kind of felts the wool, and then cut them up. So you get. I could be making these kind of things for the rest of my life. I have so much wool. So, but that is another option to.
Now we're talking wool woven fabric, not like a wool sweater, because that felted up, that's too thick for this. Right. You can't do that. And this is only slightly felted, this stuff. It's not.
No, it's
not like a boiled wool jacket. It's only partly done.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, we're done here at this table, I think. So we're going to talk just a little bit about our quilt inventory. I have been wanting to do this for a long time because we both have quilts that have been passed on to us from our grandparents, or in her case, her in-laws family. And quite honestly, I was getting a little confused because I have also bought quilts at auctions and estate sales. I don't have a huge collection or anything, but I do have how many, it doesn't matter. But I have quite a few family quilts, and it really bothered me that these were not documented. Now, my grandmother had the foresight to pin onto most of them, and she wrote a little note and pinned it on them that said that my mother made this when she was 12 years old, or this comes from the old family home, and she wrote little notes on them. But there were others around the house that people might look at and think, well, is this a family quilt or not? So the last time, well, it was 2 times ago you were here that we did that. So what we did, we did a quilt inventory. We went around, we took photos of all the quilts. The quilts are really hard to photograph, but we did it because we figured this is more utilitarian than anything. We're not. And then these photo albums, I really like them. I've been using them for a really long time, and I can link to the ones I purchased on Amazon. You get them in, I think, a set of 4 or 5. They're not expensive, and you can just slide your photos in. I ordered photos from Walgreens, and they turned out fine. And then, so this would be a page. I kind of tried to put them in order of their age. And this card down here, I tell everything I know about it. Like if there was a,
and that what
if
year
there
was
wasn't,
that?
This one was, we didn't know, but she thought 1800 something.
This was 1878.
Okay, that was 1878. That little green and white, that whole 4-patch homespun there. And then my grandmother had written, made by Jane Anderson, my mother, when she was a little girl. So we know approximately how old it is. There's a nursery rhyme quilt in there, and and then after I got, this is most spectacular, we should probably bring it out. And then in the back, I went to the ones that were old, but there's one that I'm not sure of. This one I'm sure of. But that one double wedding ring, honestly, I don't know. I think that clues tell me it was not made by our family, because there are just some things about it that I think, but it could have been. Our grandfather had two sisters and a bunch of brothers, and those two sisters did quilt. One of them did. But then we go into some baby quilts, and then some of the quilts I purchased, and so that our family will know. So let us take you over to where I store some of the quilts, because that's kind of fun too. Now, when I talked on the audio, that quilt's way downstairs, so I can't get it, but I talked about a garage sale find that I purchased, and I probably was much more vibrant in color, but it was pink background, and then it had blue, it had pinwheels. And I've had this quilt for a good 20 to 25 years, I think, and I had never noticed that one whole panel has different size blocks. And I thought, this is a perfect example of how critical we are of our own work. And now I love this quilt even more because I know that quilter was resourceful and just thought, well, I don't have enough fabric maybe to make the blocks all that size, but I can fudge a little on the sashing, make smaller blocks, and I can still finish out and make this quilt as wide as I want it. So it really is. It is spectacular. Maybe at the end we can put some photos of some of these. Yeah. And then we'll go and show you where the antique quilts are being curated. So let's take our field trip, Gayle.
Okay.
We'll go in. You look great.
I got the tulips to hide it. No, I don't need this.
Well, we're back. We had I guess you could call it a malfunction. My iPhone ran out of memory. So you're not going to get to see the antique quilts today. We will do that in another episode. And Gayle's going home today, so it won't be for a little while. We won't see one another for, we think, about 6 weeks.
5, I think it is. 5
or 6
but
weeks.
I may come in between just to have fun and quilt.
Yeah, we might do it. Yeah.
Quilt together.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Do you want to tell your Instagram?
No. I don't post anything
but
on
you
Instagram.
Could.
Well, not this time. I will next time.
Okay. Yeah. Just PM me and I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Right.
So she is on Instagram, and I'm encouraging her to post because she does Zentangle and doodling and things like that, other than quilting, that I don't do. So you might enjoy that. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram as Knitting Pipeline. I'm on Ravelry as Prairie Piper, and everywhere else pretty much Knitting Pipeline. So I don't know when we'll see you again. Maybe May. We can't promise anything.
Yeah.
We can't promise anything, but thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're going to put the tape right along this crevice right here. So then after it's on, it looks like this. So it has covered up that. I only have 2 hands, unfortunately. I should put in here. So it's covered up this ledge here, this little ridge that causes your seam to flip that way.